Something is coming.
Ni miujiza, ni miujiza!
Is this an ear?
Jesus, what kind of a preacher are you?
Preacher's about a lot of things, but it's essentially about God.
I think that it
reminded me of things that I loved.
Oh, God.
It's impossible to explain.
That's pretty much the answer I gave.
Honestly, what I tried.
I said if I tell you, it'll ruin it.
Just ain't blinking that squirrel!
Preacher is about this small town, primarily in West Texas.
This little town that's in the middle of nowhere.
It's that kind of town where everyone knows everyone else.
The barren landscape, it gives it a mood and a tone that's befitting the story.
There is a man at the center of this.
The quintessential man with a past. As part of his atonement is trying to sort of be a good preacher like his dad was.
St. Matthew reminds us that salvation won't come to those.
That's easier said than done. God isn't really talking to him. Hungover, as always, and not really paying attention to his parishioners.
I was growing up, 6 o'clock.
He's the most irreverent preacher, certainly in West Texas.
my friends all call me Tulip.
She's come back to town to do some kind of criminal something that you don't quite know what, and she wants Jesse to join her.
Tell me you don't miss it.
I just did. Twice.
The characters are kind of island of misfit toys.
Ooh.
There's the sheriff and church organist, and as we get to know them, we start to realize, actually, everyone here is plagued by sin. Some sort of perversity or some sort of secret or some sort of dark longing or bad behavior that they'll all need to be held to account for in the end.
It's quite a volatile storyline. You never quite know where it's going.
I want an answer. Well, that's it.
It asks a lot of very pertinent questions.
It's just insane. It's completely insane.
Just like in Garth's comics, it sort of jumps from one genre to the next.
I want you to hurt him.
You know it's a sin just to ask me that.
It can be very like serious, dramatic, and then it can be just completely over the top silly.
It's been fun because we've gotten to do so many different things. There's fight scenes, there's kind of comedy scenes, there's dramatic scenes, there's kind of everything. And so that's what's been really interesting about it.
From the beginning, Seth and Evan and I, we wanted to honor Garth's audacity. And win, lose, or draw, I feel like we've done that. I feel like we took a really big swing with this show.
And action.
Oh, great talk.
Imagine being able to make your favorite story with your best friend from elementary. That's what Seth and Evan have here.
A man's heart plans his way, but the Lord directs his steps.
Right. Pray for me, preacher.
If anyone were listening, I would.
The characters of Preacher are very troubled, and the more we get to know them, we understand how damaged they are, how violent they are, how restless they are.
You don't really know who any of them are. The layers slowly are exposed.
They've all got their miscreants, they've got sort of shady pasts, their morals are questionable, they're on journeys of self-discovery. Some of them don't know it yet.
No sermon today. You're welcome for that.
When we first meet Jesse, he's been a preacher in his father's former church in this little town called Annville in West Texas. He's been the preacher there for a little over a year, and things have not gone as smoothly as he thought.
His life is overshadowed by the guilt of something which he did that he blames himself for. But his faith has always been strong.
He is consciously searching for something more in his life, a higher meaning to his presence on earth.
Because of his failings and because of his guilt, he went down a very destructive path.
People said before you came back here, before you were a preacher, you did things.
What we like about Jesse Custer is that he is a man who has really two sides to him.
He's quite an unusual character, Jesse. He's aloof, there's a mystery there.
Part of him is a really good man who wants to do well and be like his father and be a good preacher and help other people. And that part is real and sincere. But he has another part too, which is super dark. That's sort of his struggle. You know, as a preacher, you know, how to balance your proclivities towards mayhem and violence and drug abuse. It takes a lot.
What's your name?
Priscilla Jean Henrietta O'Hare. My friends all call me Tulip.
Tulip, she's a pistol.
She's a feisty one. That's what you learn.
You know, when we meet her, she feels sort of like the badass, beautiful woman with a gun. And she is that. But as we get to know her more and more, you realize she also comes from a lot of pain and a lot of heartbreak, and we start to understand why she acts out.
She has quite a broken, damaged past, and she's not just overcome them. She has utilized them to kind of put herself back together again.
You cut your hair. I hate it.
She comes from the same town as Jesse did. In fact, they were childhood friends.
They are each other's absolute soulmates. They can't really function or live without one another, or absolutely with each other either.
She and Jesse were kind of criminals together. They had like a wild Bonnie and Clyde sort of thing, but it went sour.
Something happened to cleave them. We don't know what that is quite yet.
Actually, it's their relationship that's the catalyst for everything in terms of their behavior and the why he's back, actually.
Jesse and Cassidy meet in a bar fight.
Cassidy is a rogue. He's quite an old man.
What kind of a preacher are you?
Lousy kind.
Jesse's definitely had a dark past, and I think that Cassidy can certainly relate to that. But Jesse's genuinely trying to make a change, and I think Cassidy thinks it's pointless.
Promises matters, the currency of faith.
Look.
And Cassidy is sort of a lifelong skeptic. I don't know if he's an atheist so much as he is just dubious about why anyone would spend so much time worrying about somebody who's just no fun at all, like God. They argue heatedly, but by the end, with respect, and they become best friends, pretty much from that moment.
Preacher is a supernatural, gothic, western love story road movie.
Has a lot of fun elements to it in terms of the violence and the comedy and stuff like that, but the show really is a drama, and it sort of lives and dies on its central relationships with Jesse and Tulip and Cassidy.
It's quite a volatile storyline. It's like you never quite know where it's going or when it's going to go there.
We take the stakes of this world very seriously. It's also really fun and silly and perverted and subversive.
You just don't know what to expect, and that's what was so great about the comic, is it was scary and gross and funny and enthralling and emotional and sad, and to try to build a show that could support all that was something that we talked a lot about.
Preacher, enough.
Almost done, Sheriff.